Welcome to the virtual Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for the Suzette Veneti Show. Please welcome to your screen, Suzette Veneti.
Hi, everybody. It is December 20th. It's 5:03, and you have 5 days until Christmas morning. So if you're doing anything on Christmas Eve, you're late. Get going. You only have 4 days for that. Welcome to the Suzette Veneti Show. It's a talk show where it doesn't just look like the host spent 5 minutes doing her makeup. She did. Okay, here we go. Welcome. Okay. Dominic Julian Lott entered the world at 1:47 a.m. last Wednesday, weighing in at 3.9 kilograms, approximately 23 garlic breads. Right. His arrival came with an added gift of his parents, Clementine Oldfield and Anthony Lott, the equivalent of 60 years of free pizza. Domino's was running a competition in Australia, very big difference, running a competition in Australia that day, and any baby named Dominic or Dominique would win the cash equivalency or the pizza equivalency of free pizza for a year. After Mrs. Oldfield's labor was a marathon 72 hours, and the baby was named Dominic, the family got their year's worth of pizza coupon, giant check. And now Domino's had said because the delivery took 72 hours, that's how long you can expect your pizzas to take. They were basing it off of that the whole time. So if you don't get your pizza hot in 72 hours or less, it will be free. Okay. Or more. I can't remember how that goes. Dogs have been trained to sniff out Burmese pythons. I don't have a joke. That's just in Florida. It's just happening in Florida, and Florida's terrifying. And now they have dogs sniffing out pythons because they have a python problem. I don't think dogs win if they fight pythons. They should not do that. Peloton co-founder John Foley weirded people out with his daily routine. The entrepreneur 49 chatted with the New York Times about his Sunday rituals. His Sunday morning routine, which includes cups of Dunkin' Donuts French vanilla coffee, a few hours of work, and a few hours on his Peloton tread, which is located in his downstairs bathroom, all seem normal. Except the Peloton in his bathroom. I can't even unroll my bath mat and stretch my arms to dry myself after my shower in my bathroom, let alone put a Peloton in there, let alone afford a Peloton. Anyway, Foley's Sundays also include time with his two active children, sushi with his wife, Jill, and his friends, and chores like laundry. The chief executive officer of Peloton offered a nice glimpse into his weekend routine, but readers seemed to harp on one detail in particular. It was that Foley stated 20 years ago a colleague of his told him the key to your day is to hydrate as much as possible. So Foley stands in the bathroom right when he wakes up, takes his hand, and cups water into his mouth for about 10 minutes until he's about to throw up water. Users on Twitter went on to say, that's crazy. Why would you make yourself throw up water? While the rest of the users on Twitter wanted to know why he doesn't use a cup. Duh. He's not using a cup because he has a Peloton. He can't afford a cup. It's a long way to go for a little punchline. John Gruden, coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, was seen wearing an Oakland Raider hat on the sidelines of Thursday's game against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Raiders now play in Las Vegas, though, and Gruden apologized and said somebody played a prank on him. This was clearly a cry for help, as ESPN asked Gruden to send a signal if he wanted to come back to the network and quit coaching for the Las Vegas Raiders. Marvel Star-Lord, at least in the comics, is bisexual. Yeah. Have you ever seen a straight guy do a dance-off to save the universe? I haven't. Staying with the Guardians of the Galaxy, Mike Pence announced that Space Force members will be known as the Guardians. I wish that was a joke. It's not. Jamie Foxx, Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire, Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen, Sam Jackson, Mean Dave, Colby Smulders, Emma Stone, Chelsea Bearce, Michael Keaton, Jesse, and me, Suzette Veneti, have all recently been named to the cast of the upcoming Spider-Man movie, as they just keep putting more and more people in. So see you guys in 2022, or whenever that comes out. And with that, I think we're ready. Is Clifton ready? Okay, cool. We're going to go with one of my favorite people, one of my favorite follows. He has a YouTube show that you can catch. It's a longer version of what he brings here. He's here 95% of the time, and I love him for that, and I love him for so many reasons. Peers and Queers, help me welcome Mean Dave.
Hello.
How are
What's
you?
going on? I like how you always refer to the YouTube one as the longer version, as if I'm giving you a flaccid, shorter version of my show here, of what I do, whatever. It's just more rambling. I just don't get to edit this, but it's Christmas this week, so I was trying to look for something last minute to like celebrate the fucking festivities of whatnot, and I forgot I have an ugly Christmas sweater of my favorite band, the Melvins here. I rarely put it on because it was expensive and you got to dry clean it or whatever. So, and plus there's not much really nice that I have anything to go to wear it at. So, but yeah, and it's, it's very Christmassy. Demons, that's what, it's the holiday was pagan origin as far as I understand it. But yeah, as far as, whatever this week has been going on, if there's anything that's going on, I'm not paying attention to none of it because all I'm doing is finalizing my my Christmas shopping. I did some accidental purchasing online. I wouldn't say it was accidental. I thought I was going to buy something, then I changed my mind, and I changed my mind after the point at which I purchased it. Sometimes you got to watch when you click on buttons or whatever after everything's finalized, and then you change your mind. Sometimes that button you hit will actually purchase the shit. So, which is really stupid. But now I get to go through this fun process of returning it and hopefully, basically getting my money back if this company is on the up and up and will refund me once they receive the product returned to sender. But I don't know. As far as anything else, I know that there's a vaccine that they've been talking about putting, injecting into people. I've joked around saying that I'll only use the vaccine if it gets me high. That's a joke, of course. I have no problem with the vaccine. I ate a ton of shitty food. I've done horrible things with myself when I was still in drug and alcohol active addiction. And, as far as today is concerned, more or less, I've never gotten a flu shot, never needed to, as far as I was concerned. But when it comes to this nonsense, I have no problem getting this vaccine, so long as one important thing, that it's free. That's all I care about. But eventually I'm sure it'll have to, who knows how these things are going to work out, where it's like you can't do this or you can't do that unless you vaccinate yourself. And these are wonderful topics to be having around Christmas time, which is also another thing that has constantly, I don't know, part of people wonder why we have the problems the way we do. And I think a lot of it revolves around the fact that we as a society have degenerated to the point where we can't tell the difference between a Christmas movie and a movie that just takes place during Christmas. And because there has been a nonstop debate that constantly keeps being brought up every Christmas as to what constitutes a Christmas movie. And yes, I'm speaking, in fact, of Die Hard, or otherwise, there's the lesser aware or less awareness of Lethal Weapon, which too takes place during Christmas. But the main one that people seem to love to cling to is Die Hard, that it's a Christmas movie. And I'm not saying that you can't watch it during Christmas. You can watch anything during Christmas. I love watching The Godfather during Thanksgiving. They play it nonstop on AMC every Thanksgiving, because nothing makes you more grateful than watching fucking mobsters murdering each other. I don't know why it is, but it just puts me in a state of gratitude. But when it comes to Die Hard, that I have no problem with anybody enjoying the adventures of John McClane. Technically, Bruce Willis, when really that movie could have made or broke his career at that point, because it was a fine line. Die Hard rode that line of being an action blockbuster or just another Steven Seagal fucking, claptrap of repeat boring action movies. And part of what made it work was because if anybody was alive during the time, you would have known Bruce Willis primarily from the show Moonlighting. David Addison. That was the show. That was the '80s show with him and Sybil Shepherd. He was a very charming dude, and I think in a lot of ways America kind of forgot about that. That's how they knew him as. He was known as David Addison, and also he did a horrible music act. It wasn't horrible. He was actually pretty talented, but it's just very corny. He did this music act called Bruno. He was Bruno, and he was, it was like his Blues Brothers type bullshit that he would do. People don't know that about some of our action stars. That Bruce Willis did that. I think also Russell Crowe. He's not really. I mean, he's done action movies, but Russell Crowe also had a horrible band called 30 Odd Foot of Grunts or some shit like that. You can look it up. It's true. They made a DVD. I had to test that fucking DVD when I used to test DVDs, and it's the most corniest fairground band ever. It's not a bad band. I mean, it's a good band for what it was. Just it's awful to listen to, and of course women flock to it. I would say women of a certain age group from like Russell Crowe's age until like they're ancient, they all would show up to this 30 odd foot of grunts. It wasn't exactly a hip thing, if you will. Might be a few youngins in there too who really liked Russell Crowe, but it was a huge ego stroke to Russell Crowe. But so that's just one of those. So getting back to Bruce Willis, that's what he was known for. And then this movie Die Hard came out, was even marketed at first. They had him on the poster, and then they took him off the poster because people didn't know who the fuck Bruce Willis was. And then this movie hit the theaters, and it blew up. And you want to know when the movie came out? Fucking July of like 1985 or 6 or whatever the fuck year it was, but it was in July.
When Jesus was born. Allegedly.
Whatever. But you know when it wasn't? It wasn't December. It wasn't November. And there's a reason for that. It's because Die Hard is an action movie that takes place during Christmas. The few moments of Christmas that are brought up are done with tongue in cheek. But it wasn't a Christmas movie. You want to know why? Because there's murder in the movie. When there's murder in the movie, it's not a Christmas movie. Okay, I'm not saying that you can't watch it during Christmas. It's just not. I don't go around saying Godfather is a Thanksgiving movie. It's a movie I enjoy watching on Thanksgiving. There's a difference, and that's basically how stupid our world has become when this debate comes up every fucking year of whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. There's no principle of Christmas throughout the fucking movie. He went to go see his ex-wife begrudgingly in the hopes of salvaging his relationship. All right. And there's a Christmas party and all that stuff. There's cocaine in it. There's some affair going on in an office that he accidentally caught or whatever. You want to know what it's a movie more of than Christmas? It's a movie, more importantly, pointing out the need for shoes. And because, I mean, that's one thing. If you watch, I dare anybody to watch that fucking movie and not want to put your shoes on if you got your naked feet anywhere at any point during that movie. It really reminds you just how sensitive your feet are and how important good, just foot maintenance is. But beyond that, it's not a Christmas movie. It's a movie that takes place during Christmas. And it doesn't mean that I'd call it a holiday movie. I'll concede to that. Then there's been other movies that, because, I'm the asshole who everybody's doing, oh, Dave, you're always the contrarian. Oh, Dave, you always got to make fun of all our good times. Gremlins is a Christmas movie to some extent. I'll give it that because the Mogwai was a Christmas gift. So I'll concede to that. Last Temptation of Christ, I'll put that up there as a Christmas movie because you're dealing with the dude involved with it.
Iron Man 3,
even the Passion of the Christ, I'll put that as a Christmas movie, which is a great movie to watch with kids. It's one of those movies. I liked how Kevin Smith called it the gay bashing of Jesus. That's always how I've I've pictured it ever since. But beyond that, it's just if people don't know the difference between a Christmas movie and a movie during Christmas, you can't really get mad at anything going on from politics to just anything going on today. You have no business if you're one of these people that's saying like, it is a Christmas movie, it takes place during Christmas, and then you got to figure it out. Actually, there was a better argument that it was a Hanukkah movie, and I don't have the tweet to back it up, but I posted that on my friend's wall who have been having these ongoing, and really I don't even give a shit about it. It was just I was over his house and he was like, "Hey, put on Die Hard." And I'm like, "Really? Are you one of these assholes that says Die Hard's a Christmas movie?" And that's just what started it. Just little fun beef in between friends. If you want to call it a Christmas movie, I really don't give a shit that much. I just need something to talk about here on your fucking show. And that's just something that I'm a little passionate about. And so hopefully Robert enjoys this rant because it's him and whoever else is watching this, and that's about it. So nice to see Paul showing up for a gig today, though. That's good. He's usually a very busy guy. I'm surprised he even had the time to spend to bless you with his presence today. He's friends with DMX.
Yeah. You got 8 minutes. Ask away.
Oh, what the fuck are you talking? This is my segment, Paul. You're not supposed to talk. Shut the fuck up.
Shit. All right.
He didn't know. I didn't do a good job explaining.
He's a headliner. So, these guys, these headliners and shit. Anyways, but yeah, so I just wanted to touch base, I guess, on that, and I think I've killed enough time. You have any questions there, Suzette?
Well, I would just say that I agree that Die Hard's probably more of a Hanukkah movie because he had like one cartridge of bullets and it lasted for 8 guys, so he was lucky that way.
It wasn't that. It had to do with the insurgents aspects.
Oh, a Maccabee situation.
Probably. Let me see. I retweeted it. Let me see if I can find it on my Twitter real fast. I know your audience has is big on making sure that they spend quality time. They don't like to waste their time.
Well, while you look for it, I'll say that with your takedown of Die Hard today. Okay.
Actually, Die Hard, a story about a desperate insurgency against a vastly superior invading force requiring the near miraculous marshaling of limited resources, is a Hanukkah movie. And that was a tweet from Jacob Brogan, who has a blue check. So whoever he is, he's official. Yeah.
You know what? That sounds about right. It sounds like we had David last week to tell us the story of Hanukkah. And that sounds like about what it was. So
there you go. So yeah, Die Hard.
I will not watch Die Hard this year for Christmas.
I think Bruce is part Jewish too. So
I'll just watch Die Hard 2 and Iron Man 3.
Die Hard 2 also takes place during Christmas. Nobody really speaks up about that shit.
Every Shane Black movie does. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna say if you are one of the thing is here's where the cutoff is for these assholes. They say that Die Hard being a Christmas movie, then I say, well, then Die Hard with a Vengeance also is a Christmas movie. It's a sequel. Like, oh, that's not a Christmas movie. What are you, stupid? And that's, just no. And yes, I am stupid because I still live in a land where this is a fucking debate. If I was smart, I would have checked out a long time ago. But I'm brave and stupid. The other thing was another movie, Home Alone. Whether that's a Christmas movie, yes, that is a Christmas movie because who hasn't been abandoned during the holidays? I know Paul hasn't because everybody fucking loves him, but but most of the time people get it, have that feeling of like everybody's left you alone, and that's what that movie. I think it really it's a revenge fantasy. So.
I didn't know how much I related to that movie until just now. Thank you. I think. No problem.
Yeah. Here for insight. Here to help.
Thanks, Dave.
So beyond that, I think that's about it from me.
Okay. So, well, happy holidays. Hopefully my guest finally sends some coin to you.
Oh, don't worry about it. I don't count on this. They're fine. And they're poor. I get it. I'm poor too.
When we come back, they're going to hit us back so hard.
Yeah,
when
just
the economy
a nice
back.
prayer, thoughts and prayers my way would be wonderful. Just pray for my good attitude.
A Die Hard menorah, handcrafted.
No, I don't need that shit. I'm not. Again, it's the more that it's even brought. It's the fact that I'm even bringing it up is part of what nurtures this problem. It's just more like I can't. I'm looking forward to next year and working on not even paying attention, letting people think it's a fucking, think it's a Christmas movie and just going on with their fucking year. But now I got a friend who knows he likes to, needle me on. I just say everything's a Christmas movie or it's not a Christmas movie. Every day should be Christmas as far as I'm fucking concerned. So therefore every fucking movie should be Christmas. The Exorcist, all right? There's Catholicism in the shit. Irreversible, if you haven't seen that movie, good luck. All kinds of good. There's all kinds of great stuff. The Brown Bunny, where you get to see Chloe Sevigny blow Vincent Gallo at the end. Who hasn't wanted that for Christmas? There's all kinds of great Christmas fare out there. So,
well, I will make sure to watch a Christmas movie tonight in your honor.
Any movie.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
All that shit. Even the Hobbit ones, the shitty ones. Yeah, all three of those. So,
thanks, Dave.
You're welcome.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Yeah, Merry
Deck the
Christmas.
halls. Deck the halls with balls.
All right, everybody, that was Mean Dave. You can find his edited version of what he just did. Not the same thing, but like a more refined one without me interrupting on his YouTube channel, In the Meantime with Mean Dave. And make sure to watch a Christmas movie, literally any movie, in his honor tonight.
Porn counts, too. Porn counts. Porn counts as a Christmas movie. Any porn. If it's got Christmas in it, that's even better. But just saying, porn counts.
Yeah. I mean, put some tinsel on those railings, whatever you need to do. Don't do that, actually. Tinsel is hard to get out of crevices. Anyway, with that, we're going to go with my next guest who's joining us. She's doing us a favor and popping in. She's really busy today. But when is she not? Working for her son, working for herself, working for us. She's busy. I love her. Peers and queers, give it up for Chelsea Bearce. She's muted. We're working on it.
All right.
There she is.
Settle down. Hi.
Hi.
First of all, Dave brought up that Bruce Willis had a Bruno album, and that is 100% true. When I was a child, I owned Bruce Willis's musical album called The Return of Bruno, and I rocked out to that thinking it was okay to do. And now I look back and I'm like, God, what a horrible decision I made as a 9-year-old. But yes, that was a real album. That's totally true. And I'm sad I didn't even think to put on a sweater. Well, I'm moving right now. This is my new apartment. So it's like I'm moving. So I'm on my phone right now. I'm not prepared to be here, but you're welcome. But look at this new Christmas sweater I got. I'm going to show you this. This is dope. Okay. So I got this new Christmas sweater. I'm so jazzed about it. It says, you miss, you drink. And it comes with Velcro balls that you can throw at the sweater. And then on the back, it has the rules. If you get it in red, you share a drink. White, you give a drink. Green, I drink. And a bullseye, everybody drinks. Is that the dopest sweater you've ever seen in your life? Paul's all about it. See?
I like
That's
it.
dope.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I haven't worn it yet because I'm kind of scared. I don't know where the bullseye is going to land on my tits. So that's like an issue for me. Like, what if it's underneath? You know what I don't know where it's going to land. I'm terrified. So anyway, this is my new apartment. I have have nothing. But I wanted to pop in and say hi.
Hi.
Look how cute.
That's adorable.
Oh, I'm so excited. So I just moved in today. My bed's not even here, so I can't even sleep here until tomorrow. But I wanted to pop in because this is the first show that I'm doing where I'm 40 because I had a birthday.
Happy
I'm 40
birthday.
now.
Happy birthday.
I moved into my own apartment. And Christmas is in 5 days. So I could not miss your show and be like, hi, I'm old now. It's Christmas. I love you. So that's all I have to say. I have so much more to tell you, but we'll have to save it.
Okay.
I love you to pieces. Get out of here. Talk to Paul. He's one of my favorites.
I will.
He's a headliner now, though, so he's got a little bit of an ego. So just keep him on this planet. All
Okay,
right? Like,
I'll hold him.
here.
I'll hold him down. I'll make sure he stays. Yeah. Thanks for dropping in. Happy birthday. Merry Christmas.
Hey,
Happy housewarming. I'll come by and bake you something.
Yeah, you can only come by if you have a bottle of something. That's the only rule that I have in this house now.
Okay, I'll bake you something and bring a bottle of something.
Perfect.
Okay.
Love it. Okay. Have a great show. Bye, Paul. I love
Thanks.
you. I love you, Suzette. Bye,
Love you, Chelsea.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Merry Christmas. Okay, we'll see her before the new year. And with that, I think we're going to go with our guest for the day. I failed to write an intro, but he is a headliner now. Recently won the 2020 World Series of Comedy. He is amazing. You can catch him on his podcast. You can catch him here when we come back to life. He's one of the busiest comics I know, so make sure you catch him in person. You can find him on his Instagram, and that's where his schedule usually is because it's not on his website. Peers and Queers, give it up for Paul Conyers.
Hello. I'm glad I'm allowed to talk now. I did not understand the rules.
You're allowed to talk
when
when
the wrong guy to piss off.
No, you're allowed to talk whenever. Usually your mic's just turned off. So for
I gotcha.
a while your mouth was moving, but we weren't hearing anything.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Good enough.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Hell yeah, dog.
So I usually ask people what they've been up to. That's usually my first question. What have you been up to during the pandemic? But you have been up to a lot. You just won the World Series of Comedy.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say immediately, and I was going to say I was napping. But yes, I did last month win the World Series of Comedy out in Las Vegas. It was very fun and a totally responsible thing to do during the middle of the pandemic.
Oh, you were wearing a mask. I saw it.
Yeah.
When did you know you were going to win?
Well, I don't know when they told me. It was a different competition because, like, you know, since the social distancing order, like, there's only so many people out in the club. So, like, the comics, you couldn't you could go in the club to do your set and then you had to leave. So you couldn't. I had no frame of reference other than like when the other comic would come out and be like, "How'd you do?" And they're like, "I did okay." And then that's the most like we're the most dishonest people in the world, especially when we need to let people know like how you just performed in a competition specifically. Like if someone's like, yeah, you know, I did okay, that means they fucking killed. If they were like, it was cool, they were kind of tough, but you know, it was cool, that means you bombed. So you do enough competitions, you kind of learn to read that. But yeah, I mean, we all kind of like the three of us that were in the finals, we were all kind of like, well, they were tight, but did what I could, which is, you know, not a great sign. But yeah, I ended up pulling it out.
Was the crowd wearing masks?
Yeah, at least they were, you know, supposed to be. You know, you could take it off to eat or drink or whatever. I think honestly, I think they were fairly responsible. I feel like most people were pretty cool.
I mean, do you think maybe that's why they were a little tight on their laughter because they were like their laughs were stifled?
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. It would explain. I mean, it was, you know, the finals took place, you know, inside the, you know, the comedy club is inside a casino. This is Vegas on a Saturday night at 10 o'clock. I thought we weren't going to get a word in. I thought everyone's going to be so fucking wild, but they were super subdued. So I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe, yeah, it was just, you know, the masks were inhibiting the laughter, and I don't know. That's a great excuse for when I don't do well next time. It's a bunch of people in masks. Like, boy, really, it's almost as if they're not laughing. Like I can't, like I must be killing because I'm hysterical, but I just don't hear anything. These masks, they're making those things thick. They are effective. We're gonna get out of this.
Some people just don't want to. They don't want to breathe their own air with the masks, and so laughing, they just, you know. It's a possibility. So you'd competed in the World Series of Comedy prior to winning it. Do you think that helped you, especially with, you know, this year being so different? Do you think it helped you know what set you needed to deliver or get more comfortable with the environment? Or was this year just kind of like all bets are off?
No, I mean, yeah, doing it. This is my fourth year doing it. So I know, you know, I know kind of like what to expect. I understand how the format goes. So, I mean, just understanding that is a good thing. If you're like, okay, I know that this round is 8 minutes. If I advance, it's 11 minutes, and the final is 25 minutes. And you kind of have that. Then you're like, okay, I think I can piece together, you know, my strategy from here. So yeah, it definitely helped. But yeah, also just kind of knowing, you know, what it's different judges every show, but they're all comedy club bookers and from all over the country and stuff, and they all talk and they they're judging, I kind of have an idea of like what they are looking for. So I tried my best to deliver that.
Right on. So the last round's 25. You have to do a 25-minute set.
Yeah. The whole purpose of the World Series of Comedy is for comics to get like feature work, basically, for out in like, clubs all over America. And a feature set is 25 minutes. So they want to make sure that, if you are going to do 25 minutes, they want to make sure it's 25 good minutes and not, 10 solid minutes, then 15 where you are clearly not polished.
Right.
So, that's the most time you do if you get to the finals is 25 minutes.
See, I didn't know that. I've never been there. And so I guess I was thinking it was like maybe 3 10-minute sets, but 3 25-minute sets. By the time did you go first, second, or third?
I went first.
Oh, wow. Okay. So yours was good enough that it held up. Over time.
I guess so. I definitely had to start. I mean, the crowd was like, they were still like getting seated and getting their drinks and stuff. So it was not like an ideal, like shit was hot, crowd was popping, it was ready. Like I kind of had to like, okay, let's build this all the way up from scratch. And it held up. I mean, but that's the thing about this competition is like it's judged by these bookers and stuff, and I mean they watch comedy 52 weeks a year, so they know. I mean, they're really good at saying like, okay, I understand that it's later in the show or it's earlier in the show, and they're really good, I think, at just judging comics on what they're doing, how they're handling an environment, but also like understanding that they're like a Wednesday 6 o'clock show is going to be different than the Friday 8 o'clock show.
Yeah. So maybe they appreciated the fact that you were able to come into kind of a challenging situation, a little chaotic, and kind of bring the room together.
I think that's what got me out of the semifinals, because I went first in the semifinals also, and it was I don't know what it was, but that crowd was like super tight, and but I think I did my best to just wake them up and just do throw what I could at them. And I thought by the end I was like, man, like it took them a while to wake up. Once they did, they were cool, but I was like, I don't know if that's going to be enough. And then I got third, so I mean only 3 get to the final, so I snuck in by the skin of my teeth, or whatever that phrase is. And I think it's because I think what helped is the bookers were like, all right, he went first, and it was kind of a cold room, but he did what he could. So yeah, I think that helps.
That was for anyone watching. I don't know who watches, but just in case we have any newer comics watching and they're like, I one day would like to win the World Series of Comedy. Would you attribute that you just described, your ability to come in and sort of tie the room together, warm up a cold crowd who's just arriving? You host a room. What is it, weekly in Concord?
Oh, I used to, yeah.
Right.
We didn't do it all of 2020, and obviously no one's doing anything for most of 2020. But yeah. I mean, hosting your own room, you do kind of like, you learn a few things about, getting the crowd warmed up and everything like that. Just little things that can help. But in a competition like that, like the World Series, where they really they just want material. They don't want much crowd work, because they want to make sure that you can just
do 25
deliver
minutes,
your shit every night for 4 or 5 days if they book you for a week at their club. They just want to know your material's good, but you need to use good material to wake up the crowd.
Do you have any, like, what is a trick? I'm curious. What is, without giving away your material, what's a trick for waking up a crowd that's not exactly crowd work? Like, can you?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just try to say something that is like specific to what's going on. Like, like my first show, my first show of the week was in like the round. It was in round 2. There's a wild card round, but then some people, like the bulk of the comics are already, they start in round 2, and then the wild card, whatever. Anyway, but it was like a super subdued crowd. I mean, it was a Wednesday or whatever, maybe Thursday, I don't know, but it was at 6 o'clock. So I mean, they were tight. No one was getting anything. and I was like, man, like that's a tight crowd. And normally, like, and you know, this is the stuff I learned from just failing over and over again, because I don't know, like, for if you know, most of you who are watching or listening, you've never heard of me before or seen me, but like one way that I'll open a show, because I'm really tall, I'll walk up and I'll be like, yeah, who ordered the tall vanilla latte? And it's, I mean, it's, you know, it's a fun line and it's cool, but if the crowd is tight, they like are not going to be like, I get it. Like the crowd's got to be just right for that line. Mm-hmm. And I have lost competitions because I opened a cold show with that line and they were like, what the hell? And I was like, well, I'm instantly like, I'm not going to win now. But so I knew they were tight and I was like, all right, can't do that. So I just tried to address like what was obvious. And I walked up and I was like, okay, thanks for joining everybody. Go ahead and unmute yourselves. So I treated it like it was a Zoom meeting, basically, which they've all experienced. And, you know, and that got some laughs. And I was like, because this feels like we're cosplaying a fucking Zoom show. And, you know, everybody laughed. And then, yeah. And then my opener all week was, again, I just tried to do something that addresses like what, you know, what is in the room. And, you know, everyone was, you know, worried about COVID. And so I opened my sets by saying, like, oh, you know, I really didn't think I was even going to make it here. But then I was like, you know what? It's the World Series of Comedy. It's Las Vegas. There's no way I'm going to let this mild fever slow me down. And then I would like jump off stage and like go for like a high five for like a guy in the front row. And like he always would like go to give me the high five. And I'd be like, are you insane? And I would just kind of like, you know, make fun of that for like a second. And like that really like worked to kind of get the crowd awake. But it's like people that do like, you know, if you're doing the same exact set now that you were doing in February, it's not gonna, I just don't think it's gonna work. Like you got to have something that addresses this collective of what we're all experiencing right now.
The elephant in the room. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, also, come on, man, write a fucking pandemic joke, would you please?
You've touched on a couple things we've talked about on the show, which is like, one, at some point you need to address you, which that I learned from Miles Weber. But then another thing is like if there's a crazy painting in the room or if there's a crazy hat being worn, like it's distracting, you know? And if there's a pandemic and you're in Vegas, that's distracting. And the sooner you address it and kind of move on from the distraction, the more we can kind of, I don't know, convalesce and like watch your jokes.
Yeah, that's why, you know, if you have a particular physical attribute, it's a good idea to knock it out. Like I'm very, very tall. And so it's like, if I don't address why my head is almost hitting the ceiling at the punchline, they're just going to like, boy, is he ever going to talk about how fucking tall he is? So, I mean, yeah, I don't open every set with height. I don't do height in every set, but you know, in a competition like that, yeah, I will address that pretty much right off the bat, because yeah, I mean, if you're just ripped to shreds, like if you're just a huge jack dude, you probably need to talk about that. You know, if you know, are whatever, if you got one leg or something, like you should probably talk about that.
Yeah, I agree. Also, you pointed out something that a lot of people don't know. The ceiling at Punchline San Francisco is really, really low. I'm worried that I'm going to hit the ceiling sometimes, and I am not even in 6-inch heels as tall as you. Mm-hmm. I've booked drag queens there before, and I've been like, you might want to stay to the front of the stage, because there'll be queens.
Oh man, those stilettos. Yeah, you get the right girl in some stilettos. That could be a problem.
You get a 6'2" queen and some 5-inch heels with, you know, a big beehive wig, and like suddenly that ceiling is not really a ceiling so much as a beam. So
yeah, I got about like 3 inches or something to work with. I don't know for sure, but it's like it's right there.
So it's under 7 feet then.
I think it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna measure it next time.
Yeah.
When it opens again and I do a show there, I'm just gonna measure during the show, because why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that'll be a good day when it does reopen. I was actually doing the weekend that it got closed down, that everything got closed down.
Yeah.
So I am the last comic to have been on that stage.
Okay, so you were on the stage.
What's that?
You were on the stage before it shut down.
Yeah, I mean that weekend, like it was crazy. You know, it was like March 14th or 15th or whatever, but it was like all week. You know, we started on Wednesday, and I remember I was walking up the stairs to the Punch, and I got this update on my phone. It was like, oh, the Warriors are going to play all their home games without fans for the rest of the year. And at that point, that was fucking nuts. We were all like, whoa, what's that even going to look like?
Yeah.
And then, you know, and it was Wednesday, and I mean, it just, you know, it was a fairly sparse crowd just because it's a Wednesday. And then the Thursday show, it was like, you know, the NCAA canceled like their tournament, and just all these big events were like shut, and we were like, oh shit, this is gonna be a thing. And then Friday, it was like, you know, San Francisco capped all capacities at 100, and we were like, are we allowed to have a show? And they were like, yeah, we'll be fine. We'll cap it at 100. And then Saturday they capped it at 50, and it was wild. Like the Saturday early show, in my experience, that's like the best show of the week, the Saturday 8 o'clock. And yeah, we had, gosh, I don't know, like 20 people there or something like that. It was wild.
Yeah.
The 10 o'clock show we weren't even going to have because like there were 4 people. But then like this fucking group of, I swear to God, it was like 35 people that were there for one birthday party that didn't have tickets before. They just showed up hammered drunk. And it was a god awful show. It was absolutely awful. And so we just had to slog through it. I was hosting, but the feature for the weekend had to leave, and we couldn't get someone to come down to sub them out. So I had to do 25 opening the show and then pass it off to the headliner. And these guys were so fucking obnoxious. They were interrupting every joke. They had their feet on the chairs. And I was like, guys, clean it up, you fucking slobs. And I remember saying, like, there are young comics listening, and you've got a rowdy crowd and you're hosting. You want to like tell them like, hey, like if you got a hoot and holler or whatever, get it out of the way now, because I want you guys to appreciate this headliner. Like, he's come a long way, he's done this, he's done that, and he's gonna kill it, and you guys don't have to do anything but listen and laugh. So if you gotta fucking talk, let's, you know, get it out of the way now or whatever, or you can just tell them to shut up immediately. But if it's a rowdy crowd, sometimes I'll try to like meet them halfway, like, all right, get it out of the way. And I did that, and they were like, yeah, well, we're good. They lasted like 15 seconds before they started like fucking yelling at him and all that stuff. It was wild. He's a great comedian who's done a lot of cool shit. And he was like, yeah, Punchline San Francisco, that was high up on the bucket list to headline. And I was like, buddy, it's so much better than this normally.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then, you know, at that point they thought we were going to shut down for the rest of March, but hasn't opened back up since. So it was pretty wild, you know, because there comes a point in the show where you have to tell them about all the great shows we have coming up, and you refer them to the calendar. And I was like, fucking nothing, guys. I will refer you to Dr. Fauci, really. That's the only guy that's going to tell you when you can go do stuff again.
Yeah, well, you've answered a question that I've brought up on the show, because I had a show on that Tuesday at Punch SF.
Okay.
And I think we sold 70 something tickets, but only 60 showed up, which at the time I was like, okay, 60 on a Tuesday, I'm not mad about it, and this thing is happening and people are scared. I'm not mad about 60 people. That's I can build on that for the next show. And then I had a show here in Sacramento on Sunday, and same thing over the week. It just, the information was like, we're going to cap it at 150, we're going to cap it at 100, we're going to cap it at, now it's canceled. Yep. And I was like, all right, but
it was a very surreal, like, you know, everyone's gonna remember, you know, a snapshot of what was going on in their life when like you could tell that shit was actually hitting the fan. And it was just it was to be a comedian, that was like an interesting way to like be guided through this, because it was really, we saw it through the lens of like all the shit that was getting canceled and all our shows that were disappearing and stuff. So yeah, it was interesting to say the least.
This seems really off topic now, but I'm going to go back to the World Series of Comedy. Just really quick. You won it the year after your good friend Ryan Goodcase. Was that an honor to you? Were you like really happy about it, or was it more competitive? Like, yeah, you won it, so did I. What?
I mean, I was tremendously happy for him when he won. I knew that I was never going to live it down in the World Series of Comedy community because, you know, that was my third year doing it. and Goodcase was like, is it good? I was like, yeah, dude, you're going to make a lot of connections. You're going to like do really well. You know, it's like, if you don't, I mean, who gives a shit? Like only one person can win, but you're still going to like, it's still going to be worth your while. And then he goes and fucking wins it on his first try. So I'll never live that down. Actually, when the guy that runs the World Series, Joe, like gave me my trophy, he said something like, "Well, since Ryan couldn't be here this year, here you go," something like that. But yeah, it was like I did have a mission. I remember stepping off the airplane when it touched down in Las Vegas, and I was like, well, I am here for one reason, and that is to win this whole thing. So yeah, I would say that him winning definitely made it like laser focused for me.
So it was like you did 9 pull-ups, I'm gonna do 10.
Kind of, sort of, yeah, except
yeah,
you know, he still won it, and he did it before me. So it was like he did something really cool, and then I did like the same thing in more tries. So it's not, I didn't like best him or anything. I just finally caught up.
So I noticed on your website, it doesn't say you won. It just says that you've, you know, where you've placed in what years. So do you want to update your website? Or I also
real bad.
noticed,
I need to update that.
I was going to say,
everybody.
I also noticed that you had all your shows that unfortunately got canceled, as everything did, for like, you know, April, May, and June. So I was going to ask if you're superstitious about updating it now.
I wouldn't say I'm superstitious. I mean, it's just, I mean, honestly, updating my calendar for my website is just tedious because it's not connected to my regular calendar on my phone, because that, like, I don't know how to only show certain things on my like website. So like when I synced it to initially, it had like, you know, fucking dinner with my friends, and so I was like, I don't need people to know where I'm gonna be if it's not for comedy. So I had to like create a separate like account thing, and so yeah, I have to like go in and do it. But yeah, I mean, the pandemic, I was like, oh, perfect. I'll just say everything is canceled and don't worry about it forever again.
Well, later off air, I will tell you. I'll message you how to do it. And
yes,
like sync it
please
to your
do.
phone.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I can teach you my ways.
All right, I'm here to learn.
Let's talk about DMX.
Let's.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me how the audience is like, that's a weird transition. So you and DMX messaged a little bit after the World Series of Comedy.
I mean, he sent me one message, but yeah. So I have this joke about just rap music, and I talk about DMX, and I do this like act out where DMX covers a Taylor Swift song, and he's just screaming like I'm doing a DMX impression of him doing like "We Are Never Getting Back Together," and it's a fun bit. It's just I have to scream at people, so I hope they like it. But I did it. I would confidently say that's the bit that like put me over to win the World Series of Comedy. Like I think that it absolutely got the best response of my 25-minute set, and is the only time I did it was at the 25-minute set, it was very well received, and I think that's like what just barely put me over to win. But anyway, someone I think it was like one of the hosts for the World Series, they were like driving home from it like the day after, and then they DMX came on in their car, so they just put it on their Instagram story like, oh, thinking about Paul Conyers and his win with his, you know, awesome DMX bit. And, you know, that was cool. So I added it to my story, and, you know, you add text to the story. And I was like, you know, I just tagged DMX, and I was like, at DMX is the real hero here. And then, yeah, he DM'd me like 15 minutes later or something. And he was like, "Yo, dog, I see you working," or something like that. And then he basically was like, "I'm looking to help out local artists and get their stuff out." And then he was like, "What kind of budget you got?" And I was immediately I was like, okay, like he's really just he doesn't even know I'm a comic. He was like, if you want to get your music out there, I was like, this dude doesn't know. He has no idea who I am. He got tagged. He thinks that, I don't know what he's going to do, if he's going to make a mixtape of everybody or whatever, if you pay him like $30,000, I don't know. But anyway, I still shot my shot. I was like, hey, like, thanks for reaching out. I wrote I'm a comic and I have a bit about you on my album, and here it is. And I just sent him the track. And again, I saw that he saw it said scene like right away. And then so I assume he must have opened it or whatever. And then I was thinking, I was like, man, I do make fun of him a bit in that bit. But I call him like a 90s style gangster rapper who was born without an inside voice. So, and then he never wrote back after that. But I just watched it. I was just looking at that message being on red for I didn't sleep well that night because I was like, this dude is going to kick my door down. You're like, oh, who's a funny fucking guy now? I don't know. The impression falls apart when I'm not rapping Taylor Swift, but you get the idea.
I do. I think if I've learned anything, if DMX was to open a comedy show, he should address the fact that he's a 90s style gangster rapper without an inside voice.
Yes,
right off
exactly.
the bat. Yeah, that should be his first. No, but you actually that's how when I host a show, if the room's not really settled, I like to have a loud joke, something that has loudness built into it to kind of draw all the attention at once.
Yeah.
You don't want to yell, but DMX would do it.
I would do it. It would be a good way to do it. I mean, the rule that I always heard that I followed was if you're hosting a show, get them to applaud 3 times. So it just kind of wakes everyone up. It gets you in the mindset of okay, I will be watching a show now. And it's really, it's like, hey, give yourselves a hand for coming out. This is going to be awesome. And then, man, your headliner's awesome. He's done this. He's in the back. Show him some love, blah, blah, blah. Give him a hand. And then it's and oh my gosh, this wait staff is awesome. How about a hand for these guys? They're working hard for you in the dark. Anyway, let's have a great show. So it gets them clapping and stuff. And then yeah, just then do your thing. Do your shit.
Are you going to tag Taylor Swift at any point and see if you can kind of make that connection too?
Oh no, because I'm not nice to her at all. Even though I think her music's fine. I don't really listen to her newer stuff, but I liked her older stuff. But yeah, no, I say that her music is poppy bubblegum bullshit in the bit. So I don't think also I don't know. I think there's just a totally different universe of DMX, list actually seeing a message and then responding, trying to make money off of me, and then Taylor Swift actually oh, this guy DM'd me, he's got 1,000 followers, he must be huge. So I don't like my chances there. But if Taylor Swift ever hears that, just know, Taylor, that I actually think your stuff is pretty cool. I like Mean a lot. That was a great track.
I was gonna say, if she knew you were talking about her in your set, she might write a song about you.
I know. Gosh, that'd be an honor. That'd be really cool. I'd be I'd be up there with Kanye and all the dudes from One Direction she fucked. Or I don't know. I don't know what she does, but I don't keep up with that stuff. But I'm pretty sure that's not that far off.
I want her to find out about it, so she approaches DMX and they do a song together.
Oh shit, dude, that would be the wildest
you.
thing ever.
Your joke creates this song.
They could come together for their mutual hatred of some local comic that's just taking unprovoked shots at both of them.
That would be amazing. Yeah,
I don't know
if any comic has. I mean, what else are they doing?
Right.
It's 2020.
Yeah. No, write that diss track, guys. It could be called Who.
If there was a year it could happen, it would be this year, right?
Yeah, I agree 100%.
So, have you been doing any Zoom shows?
Yeah, I do them. I've been I was able to do a handful of corporate gigs actually this December. Normally they take place in person, but yeah, that's sort of been what I've been doing recently. But yeah, I've done a bunch of other Zoom shows since this whole thing started. And yeah, they're fun. They're okay. It's it's like a turkey burger, right? It's not quite as fulfilling and juicy and delicious, but it's still, it gets the job done.
Is there anything you like more about doing stand-up over Zoom?
Yeah, you only need like 3 or 4 people to laugh to feel like you're killing. That's really all it takes. I did a holiday party, and there were 130 people on that call, which is the biggest like Zoom call or the online show I've done. And I told her, but everyone was muted. I was like, guys, I really only need like a handful of you to laugh, and I will walk away floating from this whole thing. I'm gonna feel like I murdered it. So that part is pretty cool. And I don't know. I think if if you're logged on, most people are at least willing to listen. So the audiences can be pretty cool sometimes.
Okay, so this might be an obvious answer, but is there anything you don't like about Zoom comedy?
Yeah. I mean, literally every other aspect of it.
Yeah.
I don't like that they could see my background. I don't want to change a virtual background. People don't understand. They're either muted and it feels like a PowerPoint presentation, or they're unmuted and they're fucking talking to their cat or yelling at their stupid kids or whatever. So that can be rough. And also like the like whatever trolls or hecklers, whatever you want to call them, the people that are just there to do something crazy. I've not been a part of too many of those. Like I know some guys were like, yeah, sorry, those guys like infiltrated and we had to like we had to kill the whole video, the whole feed. I was like, Jesus, that's wild. But no, I've been on ones where like like a female comic was up and this dude was like show your tits or get out, show your tits. And which is like, we were able to boot him pretty quickly, which is a good thing. But still, it's like, God, those guys usually stay home and don't come to the clubs. So, now it's like we're giving everybody access. You don't even have to leave your house, which is why open mics over Zoom are like even wilder, because like open mics can already be insane. A Zoom open mic is like you don't need, at least in person, you need a driver's license to get there. But Zoom is like, you just need an internet connection and you can have access to the world. So it's like bringing the worst parts of the internet to life for 3 to 5 minutes.
So we're ready for real life to come back and comedy shows to start up again. I will say that for both of us.
It would be nice. It would be very nice.
Speaking of regular shows, you earlier in 2020 you hit 1,000 sets in 4 years.
Oh yeah, at that point it was like just a shade over 3 years. But yes, I did cross the 1,000 set barrier in January.
In 3 years, so that's almost a set every night. I mean, are you doing multiple sets a night? Are you hitting multiple open mics and shows?
Oh, like when life was actually going on, and
like when you were doing live comedy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I always tried to get as much as I could out of a night. So if I have a show in San Francisco on any given night, there's got to be a mic somewhere that I can hit either before or after. And yeah, I mean it's a good, you just try to harvest as much meat per bullet as you can, and there's only so many nights. So yeah, I just tried really hard to get the most out of a night, because I mean, even like if you're not booked and you're just gonna do like it's a mic night. I mean, I don't live like right now. I don't live in San Francisco. Everything is at least a little bit of a drive for me, so I'm not gonna drive half hour, an hour, sometimes an hour and a half for one like 4-minute set. I will map out my evening and make sure that yeah, God, I miss those days where it's like, all right, I know I'm pre-signed at this mic and I'm going to do that one. I'll get out of there. I'll get to that mic at this time. And I mean, yeah, it was like, you you get better at it. It was like is the most organized I've ever been as a person is like organizing my nights around like what mics I'm gonna hit, and then of course like always leaving my house late and like being so fucking late to all of it and it blowing up. But yeah, it was a very useful thing for me to get as much out of each night as I could.
What's the most, like, how many is the most mics you've done in one night?
Mics?
Mhm.
I think like
Or sets,
5?
I guess. Either I would call everything a mic, whether it's a set.
Oh, okay,
or
like
show
a
or-
set. Yeah. Yeah, I would say without cheating and saying like doing multiple sets at one show or whatever, like I would say like yeah, it's something like 5. It was actually like at the first couple months I was doing comedy. This guy Arjun Banerjee, he's a San Francisco comic. He's such a good dude and a phenomenally talented guy. I think at this point he's like 22 or something. He's gonna be very good, or he already is, but he's just gonna get better, and he's super young. But he had already been doing comedy for like a year and a half at that point, and I think he was like 20. And he was like, yeah, if you want, we can just like go hop around and do some mics. I was like, what? That's crazy, man. Thank you. And so, yeah, we went to like, I think we went to 5. We went to like, Brainwash, which is obviously closed, now forever. We did like Martuni's, which is, you know, it's an open mic, but it's for women and the LGBTQ community. I do not know why he was able to finagle me onto this show and just let me do like my shitty 5 minutes, but it didn't go well, like because they were like, what's he doing here? And so, but you know, check it off the list. So I did that, and then a couple other spots. I think we ended up at the at Kells at the Purple Onion. It was like the one time I ever performed there. But yeah, I think 5 is the most I've done. I've done like a bunch. I've done like 3 or 4 a night, like a bunch of times. But I think that was like one of the only times I got 5. I mean, first of all, you have to have a thriving comedy community to have even 5 in a general vicinity. But yeah, and you just got to be willing to, that's all night. I mean, you know, we started at like 5 and, you know, we ended at like midnight or something. But that's the way I've always treated comedy anyways. Like it's a job. So I got to put in my hours. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to go do something for 2 hours and go home.
You can't do that in Sacramento. I mean, there aren't 5 mics happening. There, I think we might have 4 mics happening on when everything is normal. We had 4 mics happening in one night, but there was no way to do them all because they ran at the same exact time.
Yeah, exactly.
And
at that point, what do? You just kind of pick your favorites, or the ones where you're like, all right, this one sometimes even has a crowd. This one you get more time.
Right.
This one, you know, whatever is closer to my house or whatever, you know. So I guess you just kind of have to do that process, right?
I pick it like what's like I treat it like exercising, like which exercise do I want to do today? Like, do I want do I want a crowd that's going to be tougher? Do I want to go somewhere where I'm going to be able to riff? Do I want to go somewhere where I'm going to have to do material like that's proven? Like, what do I want out of it tonight?
Oh man, what a good strategy. That is
you
really
have
cool.
to. I mean, when you're here, like, because like I said, there aren't, the most I've ever done in Sacramento I think is 2 or 3 in a night. And that's really, really trying hard. Usually it's like after a show I'll hit a mic or something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's just the reality for a lot of places. I mean, I think my buddy Jason, he was out in Florida for like regular work or whatever, and I don't even remember what city or part of Florida he was in, but he was like, there was one open mic once a week, and then there was another open mic like an hour and a half away or whatever, but the 2 places like hated each other, and if they found out that you were performing at one, then you'd be banned from the other one. So you had to do it like super secretively and stuff. So I mean, it's pretty wild when you hear that. And then, you know, back in the good old days, like there was fucking 5 or 6 mics to choose from on a Tuesday in San Francisco. So yeah, I think you know, we all are learning how spoiled we were now, but I mean that I've never had to put up with that shit.
I've heard you can do multiple sets easily in New York.
Yeah,
In
right.
Los Angeles, if you know what you're doing, because the sets are shorter, it's harder to get them, but you can do it. I imagine maybe Chicago, you could do that, but I think maybe those are the only 4 places.
Yeah, I did bump around Chicago, and we did, yeah, we got to hit up like a couple mics. I think we did 2 or 3 in one night or something. So it was cool.
So you were going out multiple nights a week doing multiple mics. You were treating this like your job. Now it's evaporated. What's that loss, that outlet disappearing been like?
It's been very weird to, go back to normal life, because I mean, I didn't start doing stand-up until I was 30. I mean, I did it and then I quit for 6 years. That doesn't count. But yeah, I mean, it's a different dynamic for sure. My wife is like, she's happy that I'm at home more, which is, it's a nice, but, and we say like, hey, I miss the stage and this sucks. And I want it, I want to go back to performing and stuff, but this is cool to get to, have this huge chunk of time. We're never going to have this again, ever. Like once shows get going again, I mean, like we're never going to have like these large weeks where it's like, I didn't have to go anywhere on any night. It was, we had to at least look at that on the bright side a little bit. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been, different. Yeah, I get antsy, I think of something, I write something new and I'm so like, think about when I write something, it's like, I got to get this out right now, because the more I just let it sit in my Google Doc, the less funny I'm going to find it. And then I'm just like, not even going to want to do it. And then it just never, it never like meets the stage. I mean, it's something I got to get better at for sure. And we should all be going over the stuff that we've written that we liked that just needs more work. We should all be doing that. But yeah, I miss that. Like, oh my God, I'm going to open with this. This is going to be so fucking fun tonight. I can't wait. I miss that too. Like, I don't even want to think about it, but yeah. But it will make it, when everything comes back and we will get through this, that'll be something that, you won't, take for granted anymore. I've said to a lot of comics, we've all told each other like, yeah, like I'm never going to take this shit for granted again. I used to be like, yeah, I got 3 or 4 shows this week, and you just kind of like think you're so cool. But man, now it's like, oh my God, I got a Zoom show in 2 weeks. I'm so excited, So, yeah, I'm never going to have that, that like cool jacket on again.
What do you like about stand-up comedy? Like when it's live, when it's happening, when you're getting to do it multiple times a night and you're doing 3 or 4 shows a week. What draws you to it?
Well, I mean, I have always loved it since I was like a child, but I don't know. I think what I like most about it in terms of its challenge is that, it's as raw as entertainment can get, really. I mean, it's you, unless you're like a prop comic or whatever, but like typically speaking, like what I do, it's just me up there. So like it's totally in my control what happens. So if I'm gonna succeed or fail based on my abilities, and that's it. So I mean, yeah, we can always blame the crowd and say that the audience sucked or the venue was, not great or whatever. And sometimes that's true. I mean, yeah, sometimes the audience is just not good and it was going to be a shit night no matter what. But my overall journey, is going to be, there's no one like can do comedy for 30 years and suck and be like, boy, those crowds, all of them, like for 3 decades were terrible. Are you sure it may not be like, just the material was maybe a little unpolished? But that's what I always like. It's just you and your ideas up there, and it's just this beautiful swirl of everything that is tough to do. Make people laugh, speak in front of a crowd, get strangers interested in what you have to say, and make it fun. But it's like, I love it. It's the only thing that I can be really good at, I think.
It's the only thing that you can be good at?
Well, it's the only thing that I know that I'm good at that I could enjoy doing. I mean, you know, I have a day job right now and I'm good at that, but yeah, it's the only thing that I know that I will enjoy doing, you know, because like when I was doing like real work stuff for that 6 years between when I graduated college and when I and quit comedy, and then I tried to do a regular job. Like I would try to find like ways to be creative or funny or expressive in my regular job, but like it was always like not satisfying enough. So this is like this is the end road. This is like what I have to do in order to have that fulfillment.
So this kind of it does what you need it to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
where you weren't getting it in your regular life, so you made this your regular life.
Yeah, I have to. It has, and it's not like about being famous or being the best or whatever. It is, I need to do stand-up comedy because I love it so much that I can't not be a part of it and really good at it, I think.
What do you not like about stand-up comedy? Now that you've written this, you know, I'm gonna say like this love letter to the art of stand-up comedy. What do you hate about it?
What do I hate about it? Gosh, I mean, everything that I hate about it is like, it's like a partner. It's like, you know, the shit that drives you nuts. It's like, yeah, but you know, that's her. Like I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, like you just, you know, every time that I feel like, wow, I've really cracked the code here. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm probably never going to bomb again. And I'll just do that. And then I will just absolutely tank hard. I did that after my album, or after I recorded my album, which I thought was the best set of my life. And so I, you know, could not have been riding higher. I took like 5 or 6, I took the week off. That's right. I got back from San Diego. I took the week off, but then I did my buddy Marty's show, which is on a train. It's on an F train, that one of those trolley things that go around San Francisco. And so he has like a portable mic. And so people buy tickets for it. They all bring drinks on it and you do that, blah, blah, blah. And he had me go last, which was not based on ability or what I was supposed to do, because the other comics were all like fucking phenomenal and really, really good. I think it's just, hey, you're going to go last or whatever. And I mean, I bombed so hard, and it was crazy to bomb on like a vehicle where like you can't go anywhere. Like there's no back room. You just kind of like, all right, well, thanks. And then you just fucking sit there like between everybody. And it was rough. I remember the shit that I was trying, because again, like, you know, sometimes it's like a heat check. You ever see like Steph Curry, like he hits 3 or 4 in a row and he's like, yeah, I'll fucking pull up from 40 feet. I think that's like what I get, the trouble that I get into is like, I'll do those heat checks where I'm like, yeah, I'll just riff, I'll just have fun, and I'll talk about this material that I've not really prepared, but I'm just gonna throw it out there because I'm so fucking good. And then, you know, it just absolutely shits the bed. And I remember like when we got off that train, I was like, gee whiz, that was rough. I'm not as good as I think I am, which is, again, that's what I love about comedy, is that it's humbling. And even when you're like the greatest ever, like, you know, audiences are gonna come to see you for the rest of your life that have no idea who you are. You know, Bill Burr was telling a story on his podcast like last year about doing mics in New York, and just nobody, you know, this crowd was dead. I mean, it's Bill fucking Burr. Like, you know, this guy sells out MSG, but if he's doing just a regular show at the Cellar and it's a late show and, you know, people just kind of wandered in, they don't know who you are. So you're going to have that for the rest of your life. Those people aren't going anywhere. Like fucking Bruce Springsteen, he's never going to have that. Like Eminem is never going to be like, well, I hope these people like me. They will adore you forever. But with comedy, I mean, unless you get to like Kevin Hart or Dave Chappelle status, you're never gonna not have that challenge. And that's what I really, really, really like about it.
You travel, quite a bit for competitions and some road gigs. What's your favorite city for comedy?
Gosh. So, I mean, I really haven't been to that many places, honestly. I thought Chicago was like phenomenal because I did their Laugh Factory, and it was like on a Monday, and Mondays are not great days for comedy, but they were just so fucking good. I mean, there was like 80 people there, and it was just a hot show. I had a great time. I went up first, so I was like, this has all the ingredients of being a forgettable show, but I had a great time. They were fun. I really like Sacramento. I really like Sacramento crowds. They're fun. And then weirdly enough, like the Central Valley is phenomenal. I don't know why, but like I don't have like a list of like my 10 best or favorite sets, but I bet if I did, 2 of them would have come from Manteca, which is just like in the middle of fucking nowhere. It's just a bunch of cows and shit. But I did 2 separate shows there, and both of them I was featuring in both of them, and I was actually one of them was I was featuring for Chelsea, and we both just we just pulled that place apart. It was phenomenal. And the other was featuring for Mikey Winfield. And but yeah, I don't know what they put in the water in Manteca, but my God, they do it great. So yeah, I like the scene around California. Sacramento, love it. San Diego was really good. Yeah, I don't know. And then everywhere else, yeah, I don't think any other crowd I've been like, these guys are fucking dope. Different. I think different regions like have different things you like about them.
What's the worst city that you've been to for comedy?
I
don't want to ruin any bookings, so if you don't want to name it.
No, it doesn't matter. I did. Well, I don't know if it's like, do you blame the city or the show? Because I've done like god awful shows in really fun cities. I don't know. I mean, just sometimes if it's like a kind of podunky town, like they're not gonna be that fun. Like I did a show in Mishawaka, Indiana, which I actually reference on my album, and it was just a one-nighter at this big sports bar, and it's got a cool stage and stuff, but I mean, yeah, they weren't really feeling my shit. They were like some California boy coming out there. Yeah, I was gonna do the rap bit, the DMX bit, because I have merchandise based on it, and then I looked at him, I was like, I'm not. First of all, they're never going to get the joke, and they're never going to buy the shirt. So it was weird for them to just watch me carry a T-shirt on and off the stage with no explanation. They're like, what is that? Is Blanky? All right, fuck you, Linus.
Love a good Linus reference.
Mm-hmm.
What's the most interesting venue? Would you say it's the trolley car?
That's got to be up there. The trolley car, it's so unique, and it's such a San Francisco thing to do. I mean, that's one thing that you do love about the San Francisco audiences is that they just love, local shit. So it doesn't need to be Dave Chappelle for them. They're just like, yeah, cool. Comedy, in a laundry mat. That's fine. That's totally cool. Yeah, I don't know. The trolley cars, yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, I've done other ones that are, pretty quirky. Never one where I was actually in transportation, but yeah, I don't know. I did one. That was just a fun, crazy show, but it was at a gay bar in San Francisco.
Well, that was my next question. Was like, comedy's brought you to interesting venues, interesting places. What's the?
Oh yeah, for sure.
What's the craziest experience? So would it be a gay bar in San Francisco doing comedy there?
Sorry, what was your question?
The craziest sort of interesting experience stand-up has given you.
Gosh, there's a lot, but yeah, I did the gay bar in San Francisco couple years ago, and I was doing this joke, and I kind of finished it, and things were going good. It was like a like it's usually a nightclub. But like most people were standing because there was no tables or anything. So people are actually standing watching the jokes. But a couple people are like seated around the bar and around that. And I remember I finished a joke and I heard this guy just yell, "Shut up, you asshole," at the top of his lungs. And naturally I thought he was like talking to me, but it was like I was like taking a drink of water or something. It was like in a break where there was like no other noise going on. I was like, whoa, what is that? And the guy was actually yelling at another guy in the audience. And he was like, "This motherfucker won't shut up during your set. He keeps talking." And I was like, okay, all right, dog. Well, the guy that's talking, like, "Hey man, just keep it down." But then he got up and started lecturing me about why I shouldn't be, because I was doing jokes about my mom, and he was like this German dude, and he was like, "If you have a problem with your family, you talk to your family about it. You don't talk about it at comedy shows." And everybody that's why I was like, man, I'm so thankful that they did this at like a gay bar, because this is filled with people that really aren't too afraid to speak their minds, and they just fucking dogpiled on this dude and just they tore him to pieces. I didn't have to say a fucking word. I just kind of hung back and occasionally made fun of his outfit. And that was it. And then he like left. But it was cool. It's like I've never like had that happen where like an audience member confronts you and then the rest of the audience like just dog piles on that dude. So there was a great sense of camaraderie that night, I think. And once he was gone, I was like, well, shit. I mean, I know you guys are on my side now, and it had a great rest of the set.
Nice. That's a fun experience.
Yeah,
to have an audience
but
fight
yeah,
for
I mean,
you.
that's just. I think. I mean, anyone can show up in an audience, and when people, I think, when people get offended, that's when I think you get the most like memorable like interactions. Like one more quick story. I was doing actually Laughs Unlimited in Sacramento, my favorite club on the planet. I was featuring for Ellis Rodriguez, absolute beast of a comic, and he was recording his album that weekend. So it was a very important weekend for him, and this was the late show on Friday. So, you're probably not going to use a lot of stuff from this show because, the crowd's kind of sparse. It could be kind of rowdy. But he has this really funny joke where he talks about, like where the branches of the military rank in terms of like toughness, because he was a Marine. And he does a great joke where like all the way down here, it's like he makes fun of the Navy for like 2 minutes. And it's funny. It's just a funny joke. And he's a fucking veteran who served in the Marines. He can make a joke if he wants to. And anyway, this woman just stands up, and I think Ellis was like trying, like, because again, he's like recording his album. So he's like, I really don't want to get too off track or acknowledge what this chick wants. But she was in like the third row or something. She just was standing there the whole time. And finally, Ellis was like, all right, fuck it. What do you want? And she was like, she's like, I just need you to know that my husband served this country in the Navy, and he blah, 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 and he served with honor and distinction, and I think you need to acknowledge that. And, like on one hand, I was like, Jesus Christ, lady, what are you doing? And then, but then part of me, I was like, all right, like obviously this woman, like her husband gave his life for this country. It could be a sensitive subject. Then I fucking look over, her husband's sitting right there next to her, and he's like, oh God, not this again. And I was like, oh my God. So she's really just fucking flying off the handle for no real reason. And the owner had to come over and be like, man, the show's got like 5 minutes left. Will you just please sit down? And I mean, after that, it's like Ellis was like, well, I mean, we're not using this recording, that's for sure. But it was crazy just to like see that husband, that like he's like, oh my God, this shit again.
He's like, I wish I never served. I don't.
Yeah, I know.
She really wanted to earn her Navy wife sticker that she has on her minivan. Like, she was like, I will defend that.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, he should have told her like, I was cheating on you for 4 years, so just drop it so you don't have to get all sensitive about this shit again.
That I didn't. I've talked to Ellis. I mean, he was on the show. Like we hang out. Like I need to ask him about that.
Yeah, ask him.
I will.
I mean, he's been doing it for so long, and he's probably had some crazy shit happen. I don't know. I mean, I hope he remembers it because it was so funny to me.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
But yeah, ask him about that.
I will. Another place that people can find you, whether there's a pandemic or not, is you have a podcast.
Yeah, I do. It's called the Cotton Poly Blend. It's with my college buddy and one of my best friends, Cotton. So yeah, we now we're doing it remotely, but yeah, we played college ball together. We always had like really fun, like provocative conversations. He's black, I'm white, so it's a fun little mix of ideas. But I mean, honestly, that's gonna make it sound provocative. Most of the time, we just talk shit about like Nicktoons and stuff. So it's a fun podcast. But yeah, it's called the Cotton Poly Blend, and yeah, we just have a really, really good time. We just, I think people that like it because it's just, it's like talking shit with like your buddies. So it's just fun.
I went back and I listened to the episode you did after you did my show in Sacramento. So I was honored that you talked about the show.
Yeah.
And I have to ask, and I think it was, if anyone's curious, I think it's episode 26. You talk about doing a bit that you brought out during the show.
Yeah.
And you'd never done it before, and you said you were gonna. Now there was only 2 months of world time between that and everything shutting down, but did you try to bring that bit back? Like, did you try to make it more a regular bit?
I want you to know that I have every intention for that bit to be my closer for my next album or special. Yeah. It's really grown legs, and I've been really working on it to the degree of like, it's a long bit. Like what I told on stage, that it's a totally true story. And for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, is my first trip into a gay club. And, but it's a true story, but like there's so much more. And then I've just like gone on, when things like this grow legs, it gets so much longer. And like now I have this goal in mind of like, I'm going to make another album and do another special. So I know that I'll have as much time as I want on this. So, yeah, I've been like really crafting. I was actually like walking my dog 2 days ago, and I thought about this little thing, and I was like just typing like a madman on my phone because I was like so like excited for this bit. You know how it goes. Like I'm sure it's not even funny, and I'll probably it won't make the final cut. But yeah, I have very much enjoyed doing it. Actually, when I got to do the Alameda Comedy Club, they were doing outdoor shows for a couple months, and I did the Halloween show. I closed with that story, and it went really well. It was still sloppy and all over the place because I think I've only done it in person since your show. Maybe 3 other times, and that's being generous because it's such a long story now.
Yeah.
That I really need like a set where I have enough time. But yeah, I love that story. I really, really think it's gonna be a fun thing to talk about, and yeah, it was just a fucking wild night, and I had a lot of fun. But yeah, your show was the one that spurred me to talk about it because I was doing your drag show opening for Chelsea, and and I was like, man, do I have any like LGBTQ community material? And I was like, well, I did like have this weird shit happen at Faces, which is the gay club from Sacramento. I was like, you know what, fuck it, throw it out there, see if this is funny. And I listened back to it and I was like, I fucking love this. I want more people to hear this. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. In 5 years or whatever, when I'm allowed to record an album again, I have enough funny new shit to say. Yeah, you might be surprised to hear that.
No, I won't. You just told me I will hear it.
That's true.
I wanted to follow up with something that you and Cotton talked about. You talk about faces and how it's like kind of like now it's like a 50-50 bar. I would say at this point it's probably just a straight bar, honestly.
Is it really?
No, it's not. But we say that because it feels like it.
Okay.
And I'm thinking maybe because of your story that happened 11 years ago, you say,
Yeah.
you might have changed it. Your interaction that night might have changed faces.
Man.
Like it might still be a gay bar, you know, if you had given in to.
I know.
The gentleman
if I
who
had
was
just
dancing
gone
with
home
you.
with them,
Yeah.
that would have been good.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna take some liberties with some of the facts of the story, and I think when I tell it now, I make it sound like it was more recent. But yeah, the real actual story happened, like 11 years ago or something.
Well, I mean, you know, it's not uncommon for me to go out after a show like in Sacramento because we can't hang out at Punchline anymore. So sometimes if a comedian's from out of town or even from in town, sometimes we'll just go out and get a drink. And we'll end up usually at Badlands. That's my preferred gay bar in Sacramento. But it's, you know, I mean, so it's not weird that could have happened in January.
Yeah. It was God, it was a fun night. I don't think I've been inside Badlands before.
Oh, you should.
But I know my gay friends in Sacramento like that one much more
Yeah.
than Faces.
Because it's the better one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Faces is like where dudes like me go to hang out with, you know, like hot straight girls that are just there with their gay friend, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like those girls probably went to the gay bar to avoid straight guys.
Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah. I think guys are just picking off like stray fawns that have wandered away from the pack.
Yeah. I don't know. I've had comics ask me that. Like, isn't that a good place? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not a good place to pick up women.
It's like trying to, dude. It's like trying, like saying you should meet someone at the gym. Like, no, you should never. Like, people that are at the gym are fucking. First of all, unless you're either addicted to working out and then you don't want to sit and chit chat, or you like are just there to get in and get out and get it done. Like, I work out, but I don't want to fucking be there just shooting the breeze with somebody for 2 hours. I imagine it's got to be something like that.
You're also married, so I mean, maybe.
Also married, so I probably shouldn't be chit-chatting with anybody at a bar.
Really quick, not to get too deep into it, but Chelsea and I, and sometimes Heather Weather will come on, we'll talk about what it's like to date a performer, not just a comedian, an actor, a drag performer, a comedian, any sort of performer. What do you think? You were in a relationship when you started doing comedy, you know, and you're doing 300 sets a year. That can break a lot of people up.
It can.
How do you think that you made it through?
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, because she's awesome, basically. I mean, we were dating for 6 years when I got on stage, and part of the reason why I waited that long is because I was worried that our relationship wouldn't survive if I was pursuing comedy for just that reason. So yeah, I mean, I think it takes a lot of work on my part to say on a night that I'm, that I don't have a booked show. It's like, yeah, I could go do that mic, but you know what? Like, it would mean a lot to her if I stayed in. So I'm going to just write during the day, and that'll be like my, comedy quota. And then I'll, have the, spend time with her. So yeah, I mean, there's a balance for sure. And I'm not good at it a lot. I mean, I'm sure there are times where she wants to scream at me, but yeah, I mean, I think we just kind of work through it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's a tough thing to do. I don't recommend it at all. But yeah, I mean, you better have like a super chill partner. Otherwise it's never going to work.
Well, I mean, it sounds like she is okay with it. Cause if I'm doing the math right, you had the job for 6 years out of college, and you didn't do stand up. And that's when your relationship was happening concurrently. And then you started stand up, but now you're married. Yeah. So clearly it's okay with her.
I mean, yeah, I did, like, when I was like 5 or 6 months in, I had to like ask her, very seriously like, hey, I just need to know, like, do you, you're going to support me and all that shit, which is great. And it's not a given, so I appreciate it. But like, I need to know that you like think that I can do this, cause like, I'm not gonna like, if you want, if you were like, I'm gonna be a fucking professional race car driver or something, and I'm like, honey, but you can't drive a stick. Like, this is not gonna work out for you. That would be a real hindrance on our whole relationship. So I was like, and thankfully she does. She's like, no, you're very talented. You work hard. You clearly are advancing. So yes, obviously I believe in you and stuff. And that was a big thing for sure. But I just needed to hear it.
So chill and supportive partner.
Chill and supportive, yeah.
Right on. That's the end of my proper questions. Was there anything I'm not smart enough to ask you?
That's a weird question. Is there anything that you're not smart enough to ask me? I don't know. Do you know much about like calculus or something?
Well, no, I don't mean smart enough like that. No, I don't know anything about calculus. I mean,
I don't either.
Yeah. Geometry, maybe? Triangles?
I never even took that. I never got past algebra 2.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's not you're not a mathematician, so I don't know if you really need to have, like...
I'm like frustratingly bad at it. I don't like, it's like, I wish I was so dumb that I thought I was like, just whatever, math is gay or, something like that. Mm-hmm. Like just some ignorant idiot. But like, obviously, I'm like, I just want to get it. I want to get it so bad. I remember one time I was studying for finals with my buddy in college, and he was like, there was at one point, it was like 2 a.m. He's like, dude, like, I really don't want to tell you, like, if you don't understand like what I'm saying, then you're not going to pass this test. And I was just like, I'm so fucking frustrated right now. I ended up getting a C+ in that class, but
it probably math doesn't come up a lot when you're on stage, and you seem to be doing well. So I think it's okay,
Yes, I think I can get along fine without it. Erica knows math, so I will defer to her for our finances and stuff.
I was more or less saying, is there anything that I didn't think of that you'd like to talk about?
No, I mean, I think we covered it. This was a fun interview. I feel like time really flew by.
Thank you. It did. I do have my rapid fire questions if you have just a couple minutes
that's right.
more.
Okay.
Right. Are you ready, Paul Conyers, for rapid fire questions? Okay. There's no math, but if you need to tag in your wife at any point,
I'll yell. She's downstairs making dinner.
Okay, cool. If you were performing tonight, what would your walk-up song be?
Ooh, I like that song "The Man" by the Killers. That was a fun thing to walk out to. I did it a couple times, like between when it came out and when things shut down. I like that one. That one's fun.
What's your favorite recurring show to perform in?
Favorite show? I mean, the Sunday at the Punch, the showcase at the Punchline on Sundays. Yeah.
In San Francisco. What is your favorite venue to perform in? I think I know the answer.
Laughs Unlimited in Sacramento.
What is the funniest thing an audience member has ever said to you after a show?
Oh man, great question. I think like I was doing like a college show for this frat in Berkeley, and like this dude, he was like short, and I did my short guy material, and like he actually gave me like a tag, and I was like, that's fucking funny. I never used it, but it was funny. And I told him, I was like, dude, that's the best tag an audience member has ever given me. I don't even remember what it was.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You should figure it out. Because I was at the start of that podcast episode that I listened to. You tell Cotton about a thing that happens all the time if you do enough stand-up comedy, where people come up to you and say like, oh, I have something to tell you that you can make for your skit. And it's like, please go away.
Yeah,
like it's probably not funny.
It's draining 99% of the time. This is the one time where a guy was like, he said something, I was like, that is genuinely a good joke. Good for you. Don't ever do it again.
Who is your favorite comic?
Like of all time?
However you want to answer.
I'll say George Carlin. He was like the guy that when I saw him on HBO when I was like 13, that's when I was like, oh my God, that's what comedy can be. Thought it was just a guy like telling funny knock jokes or whatever, but this guy was so breathtaking and honest and fascinating. So that's really like what that night that I watched his special, like, really just changed the course of my entire life, I think.
Okay. What is your favorite thing about the existence of brunch?
Of brunch?
Mm-hmm.
I like the timing of it, because, you know, sometimes you just really don't feel like eating until like 11, and it gets, you know, then you're like, but you've already like eaten a breakfast you didn't enjoy, and then like lunch is like an hour and a half away. I really like a good 11 o'clock snarfest, but you also feel like, well, I mean, I didn't eat breakfast and this is lunch, so I can eat anything I want. So you kind of check the, you know, the inhibitions at the door, and you're like, yeah, sure, I have to. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and yes, this like cinnamon roll that, you know, looks like my spare tire is breakfast, so that is totally healthy.
We do have a drag brunch at Badlands, so if you're in Sacramento around 11 o'clock on the morning on a Sunday, you could see what Badlands is like. Do you cook or bake?
No, poorly. I'm very, very bad at both. When we get like blue aprons sometimes, and it says like prep time is like 25 minutes, and they legitimately take me over an hour. I hate it. Erica does all that. We have a great arrangement. She cooks, I'll do all the dishes, I'll clean up. Just please don't make me make the food.
Or do math.
Yeah, or do math. Yeah. A lot of times there's like measuring and stuff, and it's like, whoa, it's getting kind of close there.
Yep. Intersecting worlds. If we do a show and we're at the bar and someone's buying us shots afterward, what are we shooting?
I'll take Jack.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty straightforward. I'll just do a straight up Jack shot. I'm a simple guy.
If someone's buying drinks, what are we drinking?
I'm drinking an IPA. I'm just such a classic straight white male. I just want a shot of Jack and an IPA.
That's okay. Okay, this is the most important question. Toilet paper, over or under?
Over.
Thank you.
Over for
Thank
sure.
You. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's not even a question.
I can continue to work with you because you answered the only correct answer there.
Yeah. I saw someone explained it. Beards are cool, mullets are not. So, you know, when it's coming down the front, that's a beard. It's coming down the back, it's a mullet.
Okay. Yeah, that's
right.
We get the best stories. Cheryl Anderson, she was taught how to do it in a hotel, so that's why she goes over. Most people are overs. I'll say that. I've asked a lot of people in 35 episodes, and I've learned I don't hate the unders as much as I hate the people who say I don't care. Those people.
Oh, yeah, I know. It's like, just pick a lane, man. It's like, you know, it's like, hey, are you voting for Trump or Biden? It's like, oh, can't decide. It's like, you really should know one way or the other, which one is, you know, which one turns your crank right now.
Just, I mean, don't let chaos run it. Like, have at least pick the wrong side. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Believe in something, man.
Thank you. Do you have a favorite drag queen?
You, Avi.
Thank you. Do you have a favorite drag king?
I did not know that those existed, but I will be on the lookout for them.
They do exist. And there's a San Francisco one I'll recommend, should you happen to be around and see this king performing. Buster Right Open.
Oh, I love your guys' names. All right.
That's a good one.
All right. Buster Right Open. I sure as shit won't forget that.
You probably won't, no. Okay. Do you think I'm pretty? Would you date me?
Yes, obviously. Fuck this shit. Let's go. I'm ready to mingle.
Thank you. And I mean, don't tell your wife while she's cooking.
Yeah, I know.
Eat
Jesus.
and then,
Dinner's almost ready.
Right. Yeah. Eat and then you know, we'll figure it out. Last question, Paul. When all of this is over and there's a new normal or an old normal or just a normal, what are you most excited to do first?
I mean, you know, the answer I'm supposed to give is comedy, so I can do what I love. I really just want to go out with like a big group of friends to a crowded place and just get absolutely obliterated. That is really, really what I want to do. I'll do the comedy the next night hungover or something, but I want to like pregame with with my buddies, and I want to hit the town and just go see a concert or just hang out in a bar or go to, fucking anything that we used to do. I just want to do that and not feel like, like I'm doing something wrong. That will be the first thing I do. When this thing is lifted, do not book me for the first night. I am very, very busy.
Noted. That's all I have, Paul. Thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much, Suzette.
Yeah.
This was great. It's great
Absolutely.
to see you again.
You too. We should make it more regular when we can do shows.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it.
Right on. And I mean, with your answer, it'll be regular anyway. But
Yeah,
anyhow,
exactly. We gotta make this shit work.
Thank you for coming on. And your information was below you, so people can look you up. Hopefully, someone sends you some coin. And take care of yourself.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, be sure to send that, guys. I don't do free gigs anymore. So, thank you, Suzette. This is awesome. Thank you guys, everybody, for watching.
All right, take care.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, everybody, that was Paul Conyers, 2020's World Series of Comedy champion. You can find him on his Instagram, and all of his information was below him. No Shapiro tonight. I will say next week we have Nicole Eichenberg, and we're talking vaccines. So be here for that. Other than that, thank you tonight to Chelsea and Mean Dave and Jesse and Stab. Stab's information is above my hat. Thank you to Paul Conyers for coming on. We'll see you next week on December 27th with Nicole Eichenberg talking about vaccines.
Hot shit, and ooh, I love it. I love